Unit 7, Part 10. I'm going to do exercise C on page 134. Klenk doesn't actually do it, but she sets it up to illustrate a couple of important features of proofs and of the rules. So top of 134, she writes, this is 134C. Top of 134, she says, although there are many things you cannot do in a proof, such as make up your own rules, a number of things are permitted that make no difference at all to the proof. You may use premises more than once, or you may use some of them, or you may not use some of them at all, or you may not use some of the premises at all, right? You will be tested on this in the exam, right? Part of demonstrating competence in proofs is showing that you can see what will further you and improve you towards your goal of deducing the conclusion. That's the conclusion of this one. I need some more space. And seeing what will get you there and which won't, right? So some premises, as we'll see in this example, some premises, don't think that you need to squeeze information out of every premise. Some of them you can just leave alone. They won't further your goal. And also you can use premises more than once if they're useful more than once, right? So again, I'll teach this in terms of working backwards, okay, and introduce you to the mantra, right? So when you're doing proofs, take a deep breath, and enter your mantra, and your mantra is remain conclusion driven, right? And remain conclusion driven means you start by looking at your conclusion and asking the question, so ask yourself, first of all, what is the form of this conclusion? In this case, answer, it is a conjunction. Ask yourself, what rule has conjunctions as its conclusion? What rule has its conclusion? Formulas of the form conjunction. In this case, the answer is the rule of conjunction, right? And then that leads you to your next question, which is, what formulas do I need to fulfill the conditions of this rule? What formulas do I need to get to be able to write conjunction, to apply conjunction to get that conclusion? And that points you to the premises of the rule, the premises of here conjunction. And this tells me, what do I need? I need to get F and G on separate lines. Right? I need to get F and G, right? And I'm putting them over here because you certainly don't put them here, right? What I've determined is that I need F and G, right? I don't know how I'm going to get it, but if I get F and G separately, so if somehow I get F here, and then in further derivations, or justify steps, G comes out. Once I've got F appearing on a line and G appearing on another line, then I can cite those two lines and the rule of conjunction, writing down the conclusion F and G, right? So remain conclusion driven. Ask, what is the form of the conclusion? What rule entitles me to infer conclusions of that form? And what formulas do I need to get that conclusion? Now you repeat that whole process, right? Remain conclusion driven, but now you've figured out that these are what you need. These are, as it were, the conclusions you need, right, in order to get home. That is to say, once you have gotten F and G, you are home free. That is, you know what you need to do to go from there onto the formula that is the conclusion. So you just ask of these ones, right? F and G, okay, that's what I need, okay. Where do these, what is the form of these? Well, they're just simple atomic formulas, right? It's just F by itself, G by itself. I need to get F by itself and G by itself. Okay, so now I ask, where do these formulas appear, plus or minus negation, amongst the premises, right? As if these were the conclusion, right? That's exactly the question you'd ask. If it was just F down here, you'd say, okay, where does this formula appear, plus or minus a negation amongst the premises? And I'm going to say, okay, F only appears here, right? And now I ask, it appears as what? It appears amongst the premises as what? It appears amongst the premises as the second disjunct of a disjunction. Aha. So see how this arrow pointing down, right? That's what I need, but question mark, I don't know how to get it. So here I think What rule allows me to infer disjuncts of disjunctions? What rule allows me to have as a conclusion the disjunct when one of the premises is a disjunction? Now, this is going to be a premise, right? So this is a premise. This is a premise of the overall thing. But this is going to be this formula 6. I'm going to cite 6 when I do disjunctive syllogism, right? I'm going to cite this rule as the premise of the rule that's going to get me F, right? So I ask, what rule has disjunction as a premise that allows me to infer the other disjunct? It is disjunctive syllogism, right? So DS is the rule that's going to get me there. It's half of my thought at this stage here. And I think, what formula do I need? And working backwards closer and closer to the premises, to the actual premises here. What formula do I need to complete that rule, to actually do do disjunctive syllogism? I need, it's not B, it's not B. I need the negation of the other disjunct, right? Disjunctive syllogism is given a disjunction and given the negation of one of the disjuncts. So this tells me, working backwards, right? Now I've discovered I need not B, right? If I have not B, since this is here, B or F, I can infer I can infer F. I can infer F by disjunctive syllogism, right? I have a similar thought for G. Where's G going to come? Okay, same thing. It's going to come by disjunctive syllogism, but the formula I need to get there is what? Not D, right? So these are on separate tracks, right? Because this is going to be a conjunction here. They're on separate tracks, but you see how I'm just repeating my working backwards thought. Right? I needed F and G. How do I get it? I get F by itself, I get G by itself. First here, how do I get F by itself? By disjunctive syllogism, and I can do that if I have not B, right? G, I can get by disjunctive syllogism if I have not D. And I repeat again. How do I get not B? Where does B appear? Plus or minus negation amongst the premises, all right? B appears here, right? Minus a negation, right? As the antecedent of a conditional. What allows me to derive the negation of the antecedent of the conditional? Modus tollens. I'm going to get this by modus tollens. MT is what I'm going to do. What formula do I need to apply that rule? What formula do I need to derive not B? I need the negation not A, right? I need the negation of I need the negation of the consequent, right? Given a conditional and the negation of the consequent, I'm entitled to infer the negation of the antecedent. That is the rule of modus tollens. Oh, not A. Boom. I'm sort of home. I see that not A is already there, which means I can do this. I can perform all those moves and get what I need, right? I still have to figure out how do I get the G part, but that is what working backwards is, right? Just working backwards, applying the thought over and over again. It's put here with these arrows, with the rule here and the formula here. You don't have to write this, by the way, for your exams. You just give me the derivation. But this is the thought process. It's over here, because be very clear, at each stage I'm figuring out what I need, right? I need this. How do I get it? Well, I can get it by conjunction if I can get these and these. So I know that I need these. How do I get these? Well, to get that, I need these. How do I get that? To get that, I need this. I have that. That's given as a premise. Okay, they should all say premise, 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 all the way down to 7. All right. Same with not D. Where's not D going to come? From 2, again, same thing, modus tollens, and again I need not A. So not A is going to get me home. Okay, that's all working backwards. That's figuring out the steps I need. Now I just anoint the proof, right? Now I just sort of put that into application from not A. So how does it go? Right, 8. I can do not D, 1, what's that? Modus tollens, 1 and 2. 9 is going to be, now let me get not B, modus tollens 1 and 3, right? Not D was so that I could use on 7, notice that So notice the lesson 4 and 5 are unused. I never needed them. Okay? So now it was here, I've got not B, so I'm going to use 6 and 9, B and F and not B to get F, right? 11, it's going to be 12. Well, 6 and 9, what? Disjunctive syllogism. And then 11 is going to be, I need G, I'm going to get G by 7, and where's not D? 7 and 8. 7, comma 8 by disjunctive syllogism gives me G, and then conjunction of 10 and 11. That's that proof, okay? You get all these steps, right? So these all say premise, 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 premise. That's how they're justified step. They're all premises, right? And I just worked backwards. I worked backwards to figure out what I need, and then I worked forwards, putting those moves into application, right? So step 8. So 8 and 9, these were the modus tollenses with this and not A, right? That get me those two, and those were the ones that I figured out I needed to do the disjunctive syllogism. That's me doing the disjunctive syllogism, and then I can join them.